Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Jewish Week Online. I'm your host, Aaron Herman. What does it mean to be part of Startup Nation? At the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas this week, there are numerous Israeli startups showcasing their innovation. We had the opportunity to speak with Hillel Fuld, Chief Marketing Officer of the Israeli startup Zula. Hillel is a leader in the Israeli startup scene, and we learn more about what's happening on the ground. Let's take a closer look. Startup Nation is a catchphrase that you hear in different types of circles, and you have been in this industry for a number of years, and helping startups really achieve their goals and stewarding leaders in reaching their hope to win big. So talk a little bit about Zula and also the startups that you're mentoring.
So, like you said, I've been in Israel now for several years, working with startups of all colors and shapes. My official role is CMO, Chief Marketing Officer at a company called Zula, which is taking a crack at the team communication space. So if you think about the way teams communicate in 2015, in reality, we're behaving like it's 1985. We're using, to communicate with our team, we're using email, we're using Skype, we're using WhatsApp and Google Drive and Dropbox and GChat, and the list goes on and on and on. When you need to be we need to be productive. You need efficient communication. To use 15 tools is not the best way to go. The problem is that most people are satisfied with that, and they don't realize that it's objectively primitive behavior. Kind of reminds me of the whole Henry Ford story where he asked people what they wanted, and they said faster horses. Reality is that there is a need for a tool to streamline communication, and so Zula is an iOS, Android, and web app with other apps for Mac and PC coming soon that enables teams to communicate in one place. It has everything you get from email. It has one-on-one messaging. It has conference calling with one tap. Conference calling is one example. It's a painful example. We're trying to have this call. We know it took us 20 minutes to set this up. A conference call has joined the conference, has left the conference, and dial-in numbers. And again, it's behavior like it's 1985, where the reality is that we know that VoIP infrastructure, voice over IP, has been around for 20 years. So why can't we just tap a button and connect with people in the simplest fashion? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to achieve, simplicity in communication. And so yeah, I'm Chief Marketing Officer there, and part of my role is to be out there and meet startups and help the ecosystem kind of grow and flourish. And so I'm mentoring many startups in Israel and different accelerators, the Google Accelerator in Israel and the Launchpad it's called, Microsoft Accelerator and others. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on right now in Israel in all different spaces. I think if I would have to name kind of one trend about of what I'm seeing most often in Israel now is the transition, what I like to call the transition from startup nation to unicorn nation or scale up nation. A few years back, the dialogue was all about flipping companies, selling companies, building companies to sell them. Whereas today, the dialogue is all about building billion-dollar companies and sustainable businesses that then go global. And obviously, in 2014 was the record year for Israel in terms of IPOs. Many billion-dollar companies like Mobileye and Wix and many others. And I believe 2015 is going to take that to a whole new level, and there's going to be many IPOs. And less about the easy and short-term acquisitions.
So CES is happening this week in Las Vegas, and there are a number of incredible Israeli companies that are showcasing their technology. Talk a bit about what we're going to say.
So yeah, there's many Israeli startups there at CES. I'd say probably close to 15, 20 startups, which is unbelievable if you think about the size of this country. And some of them are really, truly world-changing technology. They're not, the next gimmick. A few companies that come to mind are StoreDot, which has developed a technology to charge the battery of the mobile phone in a matter of seconds. Obviously, that's a pain point we all feel. Another one, Sensibo, which is taking the old-school air conditioner and turning it into a smart device that learns your behavior. And two companies that I'm involved with as an active advisor are Zula Labs and UMove. Zula Labs has developed a mobile robotic printer. I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but it's indeed what they've created. It's truly remarkable. Basically, everything you know about printing you could throw out the window. They developed a pocket printer this big that is used not to replace the printer that will print a 300-page document, But when you're, on the go, you're in your car and you need to print a quick page from the bank or from wherever, it walks on the paper. You put the paper down, it walks on the paper and prints, which is kind of everything. Again, everything we know about printing, just throw out the window. The point is that printers are large and bulky devices because you have to put the paper inside them. But we thought everything, and they don't put the paper inside, but rather the printer on the paper, and using robotics, it walks on the paper and prints, which is, again, a crazy out there idea, but it is working, and it's working beautifully. YouMove is the second company that has developed fully, beautifully precise mobile eye tracking using no extra hardware. So any device can now see your eye movement in real time, and when they're taking it, they're applying this technology to the M-Health space. So anybody with focus and attention problems, I would say, ADD and other such conditions, can now be helped, diagnosed and treated via eye tracking on your phone. The next stage is obviously things like strokes and other conditions that today are diagnosed with eye tracking, but they use very fancy hardware to do that. So tomorrow, any mobile phone can do it. And both these companies are Jerusalem-based companies, pretty small, lightly funded companies, and are both developing global, world-changing technologies.
And one of the great things, I've been following you for a while, is that, and also being involved in different startups, is whenever you have this idea, it's just an idea. You have to build the team out. You have to find the right connections to get that investment money, or do you take the investment money? As an advisor, first, how did you get into this role, and how do you basically, when you're brought into a company, it's talking like the Tala, saying, this is, if you really want to go this way, you have to think this maybe a different way. Like, how do you create that learning conversation?
Well, first of all, obviously there's no right answer here, because if there was a right answer, then everyone would do it. But the reality is, obviously, it starts with a good idea, and that's not something that should be taken for granted. In other words, there are too many startups out there that are doing something because Instagram did it or Yelp did it, and I look at entrepreneurs often and I say, but why are you creating this project? Why are you building this product? Why are you creating a Yelp for dog owners? Why are you doing this? The world does not need that. And too often they don't have an answer. So first of all, an idea that's truly, an idea that the world needs, that you, first of all, as the entrepreneur, need. The next step is again, not as sexy as people like to think of, the world of startups, is real competitive analysis, something that I feel many entrepreneurs forget about or do not dedicate enough resources to, learning what's out there. I have an idea that's great. Who else is doing it? If no one else is doing it, why is no one else doing it? If someone else is doing it, how are you different than them? And again, not to say that you have to be different. Facebook wasn't fundamentally different than MySpace. They just did it better. Apple wasn't fundamentally different than the smartphones before the iPhone. They just did it better. So first of all, know what's out there, know your competition, and build your product based on market fit. I mean, that's the most important thing. There's obviously an entire kind of world out there in terms of rules, or I would say guidelines for starting and building a startup. But first and foremost, learn the market, learn your competition, and build a great product.
What are you most excited to see in 2016?
16.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going out. Let's go like a little further.
I mean, listen, obviously wearable technology is a very hot spot right now. I'm personally wearing, different wearable technology, on my two wrists. And obviously the more, I would say, seamless technology becomes, the better. Apple, when they released the iPhone, one of the things Steve Jobs said on the stage was, what about mobile keyboards is that they're always there. But the iPhone and now Android, the keyboard's there when you need it and it's gone when you don't, right? And that's, I like to call contextual computing, or there are different names for it. But, if my watch can now, whatever it is, I'm wearing the Pebble, it's telling me all my notifications. I don't have to take out my phone anymore. Some people view that as kind of superfluous. Why do I even need that? But the reality is, if I'm carrying shopping bags from the supermarket, or if I'm sitting in a movie, I don't want to take my phone out and kind of look at my emails. I read it on my watch. And, unless it's Barack Obama, I don't need to, answer that email right now. And I see who the email sender is and what the email preview. I don't read the whole email on my watch. But just in general, wearables is kind of adding a whole new level of convenience to our lives. And it's because the whole wearable technology trend is becoming more and more convenient as it advances. So obviously wearable is going to be a very big thing. Obviously the Internet of Things is obviously huge because, we're stuck with kind of the Internet's on my computer, on my phone, but, in 2016, my washing machine is going to be connected, my refrigerator is going to be connected, and everything's going to be connected, my light bulbs. and just think about the level of convenience where I can turn my smartphone on and have the heater on when I walk in the house, and my lights on to the brightness that I like or whatever it is. Obviously, Google bought Nest, and that's what their specialty is, kind of on the temperature side. But it's all about connected devices, and that's becoming very, very hot right now. I'm sure by 2016 it's going to be very mainstream. Right now, it's not yet mainstream. Other trends that I can expect to see, I think the mobile phone is going to go through a big revolution. I think people like to think we're done in the mobile space, no more innovation left to see. And I think, for example, Windows Phone, come on, there's no way we'll ever make it all. iOS and Android rule the market. I think people are kidding themselves. It's 7 years old since the iPhone came out. We're in the beginning where it's in its infancy. I don't think we're anywhere near finished. I don't know about Windows Phone or BlackBerry, but to say it's too late is just a silly statement in my humble opinion. Google was number 17 search engine in the world, and Facebook was late to the game. There was MySpace, and Apple was late to mobile, and every leader in their respective market was late. They did it better. They executed better, and so it's really a matter of execution. To say it's too late is just not a well-informed statement to make today.
One of the questions I always ask people who are in the tech industry in Israel is, why are Israelis so innovative?
Well, there's obviously, I interviewed Saul Singer last week, the guy who wrote Startup Nation. There's obviously a lot of answers to that question. It's not a simple answer. I can tell you my opinion, and it is based on Saul's kind of philosophy on this. First and foremost, when you're 18 in the U.S. or any other country, you're going to college, you're partying. When you're 18 in Israel, you're given a gun to protect your friends, and you're taught what accountability and responsibility really, really are. In other words, real accountability and responsibility, not here's your allowance, spend it responsibly. This is people's lives, and life and death is a serious thing. And so when you're 18, you really learn, and one can debate whether that's appropriate for an 18-year-old to be taking such responsibility, but that's the reality right now, in which we live. So when you're 18, you do get a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders, number one. And number two, on I guess, I don't know if I would call it historic level or philosophical level, listen, our history, the Jewish history, is about survival, right? We're always in survivor mode, and so the state of Israel, it's no different. If anything, it's magnified. We're surrounded by enemies. Not only surrounded, they're among us, unfortunately, and we're always in survivor mode. We're always trying to survive, and so, kind of, I guess, in the Jewish, history, back to the Egypt days, the Bible does say, again, I don't mean to sound too, preachy, but the Bible does say, as the Jews were quote unquote tortured in Egypt, they only became more, they produced more and became more fruitful. I believe that's kind of our slogan. The more we have to go into survivor mode and push ourselves, the more innovative we become.
Bringing innovation to the forefront is sometimes difficult, but as you can see from Israeli startups, with perseverance and innovation, anything is possible. This is Aaron Herman, and thanks for watching.